We talk a lot about smartphones and Apple Watches and iPads on this channel. I don't think we give enough time to the Macs. It's how Apple started. I have quite a museum growing in here of them. And I thought today, with a little bit of a twist, I would explain to you why I really have a hard time or really cannot switch away from macOS. Full disclosure, these are of course personal preferences. They may be different for you. You're coming here for my point of view, so I'm going to explain to you why the top 3 reasons I cannot switch away from macOS. So believe it or not, I'm going to try to avoid using the because it works so well with my iPhone argument. With today's video talking about why I love macOS so much, I want to focus on just the differences between PCs and Macs and not necessarily focus just on it complements the ecosystem very well. You guys get that a lot from me, and I think this should be more of a unbiased tone, even though I definitely am biased. I've been using Macs for a long time, but I've also been using PCs for a long time. In fact, we'll be getting a updated gaming PC for the Tailosive Gaming channel this Friday. If you want to see the unboxing and setup of that, please go subscribe to that channel. But without further ado, let's start with reason number 3, working our way up to the most important reason. So reason number 3 might throw you off a little bit, but that feature is AirDrop. Now wait, I'm not referring to the fact that I can record videos on my phone and AirDrop them to my Mac. I'm talking about Mac to Mac AirDrop. This may feel like a redundant or hypocritical point, but this is again something I can't really get paralleled on Chrome OS or Windows. And I'm guessing Linux, though I have very little experience with Linux. I'm guessing it doesn't have something like this. But AirDrop was actually first introduced on the Mac. In fact, even my 2012 iMac, the first computer I ever bought, still has a version of AirDrop on it. Now, this one does not support the AirDrop to iPhone or iPad, but what's very, very handy, especially when you're working with some older files or you're migrating computers, is my MacBook Pro from 2016, or even my 2017 iMac Pro is able to activate into a certain older version of AirDrop, and then my iMac that was designed in 2011 can wirelessly send video files to other Macs I have. At a pretty decent speed too. Again, uses the science of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but it is not required to have an internet connection for it to work. They simply pop up when they're in range of each other, and I have a bunch of old files on my Mac, or I have a bunch of recorded files from out in the field on my MacBook Pro. I can AirDrop them to a different Mac without me having to worry about what my bandwidth speed is. A lot of people out there are like, well, Drew, you can use third-party programs, or you can upload it to a cloud service like Google Drive and then share it on other computers. As a YouTube creator, I wanted to bring up why that is such an issue for me. It's because we are constantly recording, uploading, posting, while simultaneously trying to stream content and view it as we're making stuff. When that's the issue we're running into, bandwidth is not something we can spare very often. Not everyone has gigabit internet, which means that when you have a file sharing service that does not slow down everyone's Wi-Fi and you can keep uploading content, whether to YouTube or Twitter or wherever, having a wireless sharing service that does not interfere with your actual internet uploading is very helpful, and it would be very frustrating if I tried to switch to Windows or Chrome OS and tried to do that same thing. It saves us from having to buy external hard drives and try to move footage onto that hard drive, then take that hard drive to another computer and transfer it to there. So saves us money, saves us time, and overall, again, is one of those exclusives that keeps me tied to macOS. Number 2, second biggest reason, is the suite of pro apps Apple provides to macOS users. Specifically, the ones I'm talking about are Final Cut Pro. Especially as a video editor, the fact that Final Cut Pro allows computers like the 12-inch MacBook, which basically has mobile processors, really low powered specs, to fluidly edit 4K video on a computer that does not have any fans. It's running a full-fledged desktop operating system, but because of that optimization, sure, it doesn't export very quickly, but it's able to let you edit very high resolution video or very high frame rates on computers that do not have a high performance CPU or GPU. In fact, usually it's those pro apps that Apple's offers that makes it okay to buy certain Macintosh computers that have much lower specs than PCs that could have more for the same price. That's what I very much enjoy about having that macOS suite of apps between Final Cut Pro and Aperture and Compressor. Export speeds can be 2 times to 3 times faster than that of Adobe Premiere, which I still use occasionally for certain projects. In fact, my editor really prefers Adobe Premiere just because that's what he grew up with. But we talked about this on one of the later Tailosive Tech podcasts. Because he prefers Premiere, it means that he's limited to what types of devices can give him fast exporting speeds, or else he's going to have to wait 2 times longer than a typical Final Cut Pro export. That's why MKBHD edits on an iMac Pro, because it exports fast, it runs fast. And I'm not really anti-Microsoft, but I would really like to see them make some kind of pro apps for their own software, more than just Microsoft Word or Excel and making people pay for like basic Office apps. Whereas Google, Apple, they make that kind of thing free. I really wish Microsoft could make a optimized video editing program or photo editing program that is built to support Surface devices, or any Windows 10 device rather. That way, when you go to Windows 10, you're not limited to just Adobe or DaVinci or Sony Vegas. You get something that is truly optimized. Apple's suite of apps is truly optimized and really cannot be paralleled on PCs with lower specs compared to Macs with lower specs, but because they have Final Cut, they still work great. And the number one biggest reason, and I have a feeling you're not gonna like this, and it's probably because it doesn't feel like a major issue, but to me, it kind of is. macOS has picture-in-picture mode. While this may not seem like a big deal, because I use it so much, it's one of the crucial reasons I cannot switch to Windows or Chrome OS. While editing a video, or while managing social media, or while typing in Discord, I love to be watching a YouTube video and right-click on it and then enter picture-in-picture, which of course takes the content that I want to watch out of this broken and comment-trolled filled site and look at other things. I can focus on the video I'm editing while having a YouTube video playing overlaid. What's so great about the fact that it's overlaid is that I can open Finder windows, I can open up different Safari windows, and it will not go on top of that video that is playing. Picture-in-picture stays on top of whatever you're looking at. You can resize it, put it to any corner, hide it to the side if you need to, pause it, pop it back into the browser, and when that happens, I'm able to watch videos while still being able to edit my videos at a full screen resolution. I don't have to resize everything like in Windows 10, where you put it on the third of the screen or an eighth of the screen or split it half and half. I don't need a whole half of my screen dedicated to just one 16:9 video. So instead, I lift it out and put it in the corner. And if someone on YouTube uploads something that's like a 2:1 aspect ratio instead of 16:9, it will actually just pop out that video player instead, saving on space and making things as concise as possible. And it means that I haven't really run into an issue in which I wish I had a secondary monitor. I can get by fine with just the one 5K monitor because of features like picture-in-picture. And a little freebie I'll add into this video, the fact that when you have picture-in-picture and you get a text via iMessage, the message comes in underneath picture-in-picture. It does not go on top of it. The fact that Apple thought of that, I'm so grateful for. Message pops out underneath picture-in-picture. I click reply on it and I text. But again, I didn't want to include that in the top 3 reasons because that's more of a because it works with iOS type argument. And a lot of people don't like the ecosystem style argument. So thought I would try something different and say those are 3 hardcore nails that keep me pinned to macOS and make me go, I'm not much of a gamer, so Windows isn't terribly worth it. And this is why I can't switch away from macOS. Exclusive features that are not all about how the ecosystem works together. It's more than just that. Even if there wasn't an ecosystem there, I would still have loyalties and favoritism towards macOS. Let me know what keeps you towards macOS or what keeps you towards Windows. What keeps you from switching over to macOS? For me, a lot of it is the fact that macOS was not designed for a touchscreen. I feel like Windows 8 was all about touch, and then Windows 10 still kind of feels like it's meant for a touchscreen, even though most of the time it's not running on devices that have touchscreens. So all of that good stuff, whether it be Linux, Chrome OS, what keeps you tied to your OS in terms of laptops and desktops, let me know in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.